What's up, beautiful image bearers? This might get me in some trouble with some folks, but honestly, I don't care. Something that I'm seeing more and more of, especially with the rise of things like progressive Christian theology and things of that nature, is this idea of Jesus and his purpose being to bring about social justice. Let me say this clear as day. Jesus is not a social justice warrior. Now, track with me for a second. Now, God is about justice. Okay, according to Merriam-Webster, justice is the impartial administration and maintenance of what is just. It involves righteousness, equitableness, which is fairness, impartiality, moral rightness. We see justice demanded of God's people in multiple scriptures included here and elsewhere. Social justice, on the other hand, defined by the same source, is a state or doctrine of egalitarianism, which is the notion that all social, economic, and political inequalities must be removed from society. It's justice in terms of the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. This iteration of justice is not commanded in Scripture. And I'm going to include some more clips from an article that I found to kind of further, this point. But basically, you can read these, pause them if you want. But essentially, justice pursues what's right according to an absolute standard, whereas social justice is basically based on how we feel. See, the fact of the matter is, yes, in this world we will have trouble. Jesus told us this. We understand that there are injustices and things of that nature. But the thing is, when we look at, slavery or racism, prejudice, whatever, and we feel a way about it, what we're doing is it appeals to our inner image of God that's within us. It reminds us that we live in a fallen world where things are not right, and it should ultimately, if we're believers, make us long to be with Christ, where everything will be made right. Now, just in case you think that there weren't people in Jesus's day who had this same idea of social justice, you can read this part. But essentially, the Jewish people knew for years, centuries, that there was a coming Messiah, and they still didn't understand that he came to bring a heavenly kingdom, not an earthly one. So many people had a hard time believing in Jesus because he said things like, I must work the works of him who sent me. He said things like, I have to be about my Father's business. See, the Jewish people thought that Jesus and his whole goal was to free them from Roman oppression. They had been oppressed a lot throughout their history and enslaved by many, but Jesus made it clear his goal was not to save them on this earth. And as hard as it may be to hear these days, it's not about what we think it's about. It's about the gospel. That's the only thing that will save us. The only real change.